Welcome to the Sleepy Economist. If you're here, if you've chosen to be here in this moment, then something in you is ready to let go. So let's begin there with letting go. Let your shoulders fall, not quickly, but slowly, like snow settling onto still water. Let them drop away from your ears, away from your neck, until they rest somewhere lower, somewhere you'd forgotten they could rest. Let your jaw unlock. You've been holding it without knowing. Let it soften. Let your teeth part slightly. Let your tongue rest easy in your mouth, and your hands, wherever they've fallen, on your chest, on the bed beside you, folded or open. Let them grow heavy. Let them sink. Let them become part of the surface beneath them. Good. Now, for the next 90 minutes, nothing is required of you except to listen. And even listening is optional. You can drift. You can fade. You can let my voice become something distant, like wind in trees, or water moving over stones. There is no test here. There is no quiz. You will not be asked to remember the dates, or the prices, or the names. The economy rose and fell long before you were born, and it will rise and fall long after you're gone. Tonight, you can simply let it be. We are going somewhere quiet together, somewhere candlelit, somewhere that smells of drying ink and damp earth and old polished wood. We are going to 17th century Amsterdam to watch a flower become a fortune, and then become a lesson, and then become a memory. This is economic history, told the way history should be told, at night, slowly, softly, with space between the words, where you can rest, or sleep, or simply exist without effort. Just once, a gentle note. This is storytelling. This is education. This is not financial advice, not a recommendation, not a suggestion to buy or sell or trade anything at all. There is nothing here for you to do except be. Now, close your eyes if you haven't already, or let them rest half open, soft and unfocused, and begin to picture water, dark water, still water, canal water in Amsterdam in the year 1636, when the wind blows cold off the North Sea and the city floats between earth and sky, built on wooden poles driven deep into soft ground. Picture lantern light, a single flame behind thick glass, trembling, stretching across the black surface of the canal in a thin golden line, like a thread of light laid across velvet. Listen, somewhere distant, a rope creaks against wood, a boat settles, and then silence returns. This is where we begin. In the dark, on the water, in a city that trusts paper more than gold. Let's walk. Let's walk. Deeper into the night, and deeper into the city. You are walking along a canal at night. The year is somewhere in the 1630s. The exact year doesn't matter. What matters is the feeling. Cobblestones beneath your feet, uneven, worn smooth by decades of footsteps. The air is cold, but not bitter. It smells like smoke and salt, and the particular dampness of a city built on water. On either side of you, narrow houses rise, 3 stories, 4 stories, tall and thin, leaning slightly forward, as if they're curious about the street below. Their roof lines are uneven, some gabled, some stepped, all of them dark against the darker sky, except for the windows. The windows glow, soft amber light behind thick glass and heavy curtains. Each one looks warm. Each one promises shelter from the cold night air. You walk slowly. Your footsteps are the only sound. And then a church bell. Once, twice. The sound moves across the water and disappears. Silence again. This is Amsterdam, but more than Amsterdam. This is a feeling. The feeling of a place where order matters, where records matter, where a promise written down is nearly as solid as stone. The Dutch Republic in the 1630s is not the largest empire, not the most powerful, not the most violent, but it might be the most organized society the world has yet produced. These are people who trust paperwork. They trust ledgers. They trust contracts. They trust that if you write something down, if you sign it, if witnesses observe it, then that piece of paper can move value almost as effectively as a purse full of coins. Ships are sold before they dock. Goods are traded before they arrive. Futures are bought and sold in quiet rooms, while the things being traded are still on the other side of the world. This is not chaos. This is not disorder. This is a highly sophisticated system built on one fundamental belief, that written promises between honorable people will be kept. And in a society like this, where paper can represent value, where contracts can travel faster than ships, something strange becomes possible. A flower can become a fortune, not because the flower itself changes, but because the paper around it, the promises, the contracts, the web of agreements, can grow until the paper world is larger than the flower world. And when that happens, when paper outgrows reality, you have the conditions for a bubble. First, let the paper fade and let the flower emerge. Picture a garden, not here, not now, but far to the east. The garden is in the Ottoman Empire, Persia, the borderlands where Europe meets Asia. The soil is different there, the light is different, and growing in that soil, blooming in that light, is a flower that Europeans have never seen. A tulip. The word comes from the Turkish word for turban, tulbend, because the shape of the flower, the way the petals cupped together, reminded someone of folded cloth. Tulips are not loud flowers. They don't sprawl. They don't vine. They don't fill a garden with scent the way roses do. They're simple, elegant, a single straight stem, 6 petals arranged in a perfect cup, colors that range from white to yellow to red to purple to almost black. In their native lands, tulips are appreciated but not worshipped. They're beautiful, the way many flowers are beautiful. But then they travel. They travel along the same routes that bring spices, silk, porcelain, new ideas. They arrive in Europe in the late 1500s, carried by diplomats, traders, botanists, people who collect curiosities. And when they arrive in the Netherlands, they meet a very particular kind of attention. The Dutch notice details. Gardeners notice the shape of the leaves. Growers notice the timing of the bloom. Collectors notice differences so small they feel like secrets. Most tulips are simply pleasant, clean cups of color, brief beauty. They bloom in spring for a week, maybe 2, and then they're gone until next year. But some tulips, some very rare tulips, carry something extra. Imagine a petal that should be pure red, but it isn't. It's marked with flames of white, or feathers of cream, or delicate streaks that look like someone touched the flower with a fine brush while the color was still wet. These patterns aren't painted, they're intrinsic. They emerge from the bulb itself, and they're unpredictable. You can plant a bulb and not know until it blooms whether the petals will carry the flames. Today, we know these patterns are caused by a virus, a mosaic virus that weakens the plant even as it makes it beautiful. The virus breaks the pigment in irregular patterns, creating those flames, those feathers, those streaks. But in the 1630s, no one knows this. The cause is invisible. The effect is stunning, and the mystery makes the beauty feel almost magical. It feels like discovering a flower that nature painted differently just for you. Now, let's talk about what rarity does to the human mind. Rarity focuses attention. If everyone has something, it says nothing about you. But if only a few people can have something, suddenly ownership becomes communication. Owning a rare tulip says, I have taste, I have resources, I have access, I belong to a particular level of society. And in the Dutch Republic, status matters. But status is displayed quietly. You don't throw festivals. You don't wear gold chains in the street. You demonstrate refinement through objects that speak softly but clearly. You commission a painting. You buy a map. You furnish your home with dark wood and imported cloth. You collect things that show you appreciate quality. A rare tulip fits this perfectly. It's beautiful, which signals taste. It's expensive, which signals wealth. It's delicate and brief, which signals that you can afford beauty that doesn't last. And it's natural, God's creation, which is valued in a Calvinist society. So the rare tulip becomes more than decoration. It becomes a marker, a signal, a way to be seen without shouting. And once something becomes a status symbol, once people begin to desire it, not just for itself, but for what it communicates, the price begins to float free from the thing itself. The price becomes about desire, about scarcity, about what other people want. And that's when markets get interesting. Now, before we go further, let's rest for a moment. Picture that garden again. Early morning, spring, dew on the grass, birds awake but quiet. You're walking between rows of tulips. Most are pleasant, red, yellow, white. But then you stop. One is different. Its petals carry flames, white through deep red. The pattern looks like fire frozen mid-flicker. It looks intentional, but you know it's not. It's chance. It's nature. It's something that happened in the darkness underground that you'll never fully understand. You lean close. The petals are cool and firm. The scent is faint, almost not there. And you feel something shift in your chest, a small thrill, a quiet desire, a thought that says, I want this. I want to own this. I want to show this to people I care about. That feeling, multiply it by a city, multiply it by a generation, multiply it by a moment in history when trade is booming and wealth is growing and the future feels wide open. That feeling is where bubbles are born. Rest now. Breathe. Let that image soften and fade. But first, just rest and learn the art of waiting. Here is the simple fact that explains everything. Tulips take time. This is not a detail. This is the mechanism. This is the hinge on which the entire mania swings. A tulip bulb is planted in autumn. It goes into the ground before winter, and then it sleeps. It doesn't grow. It doesn't bloom. It simply exists, dormant, waiting in cold, dark soil while the world above freezes and grays. Months pass. Winter happens. Snow falls and melts. Frost comes and goes. And the bulb does nothing. It simply waits. You cannot rush this. You cannot pay the soil to work faster. You cannot negotiate with spring. A tulip is tied to seasons, and seasons create waiting. And waiting creates a space where promises become necessary. Now picture a tulip grower. It's winter. His bulbs are underground. He knows what varieties he has. He knows which ones are rare. He knows that in a few months, when they bloom, people will want them. But he also knows something else. He needs money now. Maybe he needs to pay for supplies. Maybe he owes debts. Maybe he simply wants certainty in an uncertain world. So he makes a deal. He finds a buyer, someone willing to pay now, in winter, for a bulb that won't be delivered until summer, after it blooms, after he can dig it up and transfer it. They sit at a table. They agree on terms, this variety, this quantity, this price, this delivery date. They write it down, a simple contract, a promise on paper. Both parties sign, witnesses observe, the paper is filed away, and in that moment, the tulip becomes two things at once. It remains a living plant, still sleeping in the earth, still tied to seasons and soil and the patient rhythm of growth. But it also becomes a line of ink, a written promise, an agreement that can be bought, sold, transferred, and traded, while the bulb itself does nothing at all. The paper can move faster than the plant. And once you understand that, once you see that paper can travel while the thing it represents stays still, you begin to see how speculation becomes possible. Because now, the buyer who just purchased that contract, he doesn't have to wait until summer. He doesn't have to take delivery of the bulb. He can sell the contract to someone else. Maybe next week, maybe next month, maybe tomorrow. And that person can sell it to someone else, and that person to someone else. And the contract moves through the city like a rumor, changing hands, gathering value, while the bulb remains underground, doing nothing, knowing nothing, simply waiting for spring. Later, people would call this wind trade, trading in air, trading in nothing. But that's not quite right. They're trading in promises. And promises, in a society that trusts paper, can feel as real as tulips, at least for a while. Now breathe. Let your chest rise and fall. Let your body sink a little deeper into rest. We're about to enter the market, the rooms where deals are made, the tables where contracts are signed, the moment when quiet confidence becomes collective momentum. But first, just breathe and step inside the warmth. Picture a tavern in Amsterdam, winter evening. The light outside is already gone. Inside, warmth. A fire burns in the hearth. Candles on tables. Smoke hangs in the air. Not thick, just enough to soften the edges of things. Men gather, some standing, some sitting, ages ranging from young to old, dress ranging from modest to prosperous. This is not a formal exchange. There is no trading floor, no official marketplace. This is simply where people come in the evening to talk. And tonight, they are talking about tulips. Not loudly, not dramatically, but with a particular kind of focus. The way people talk when money is moving. Someone mentions a variety. Admiral de Man, a good tulip, red and white, sought after. Someone else says, I heard it sold for 200 guilders last week. A pause, a slight raising of eyebrows. 200 guilders is significant. Not a fortune, but significant. Someone else says, I heard 250. And now the number is floating. It's not attached to a specific transaction anymore. It's become a rumor, a possibility, a benchmark. Someone says, I know a grower who has offsets, similar variety. He might sell contracts for spring delivery, And now the conversation shifts. Now it's not about admiring flowers. It's about opportunity, about getting in before prices rise further. A few men move to a corner table. They sit. Someone produces paper. Someone else produces a pen. They speak quietly. Terms are discussed. Price, quantity, delivery date, signatures. Money might change hands, or maybe just a deposit, or maybe nothing yet. Just the contract, the promise, the agreement that later payment will be made and bulbs will be delivered. And then it's done. The contract exists. It's witnessed. It's real. The buyer leaves with a piece of paper. The seller leaves with cash or a promise of cash. And the bulb, the actual bulb, is still in the ground, still dormant, still waiting. This scene, multiply it, not by dozens, but by hundreds, by thousands. Different taverns, different homes, different back rooms across Amsterdam, Haarlem, Utrecht, Alkmaar, contracts being signed, promises being made, paper moving through the city like leaves on water, and prices gradually, steadily, quietly begin to rise. Not dramatically, not all at once, but week by week, month by month, the numbers grow. A bulb that sold for 50 guilders in autumn sells for 70 in winter, then 90, then 120. And people notice. Of course they notice. They see neighbors profiting. They see people like themselves, ordinary people, making money by doing nothing except holding paper for a few weeks. And they think, why not me? Now let's slow down even more. Let's enter the mind of someone standing at the edge of this market, someone considering whether to participate. His name doesn't matter. Let's call him Jan. Jan is a weaver. He makes cloth, good cloth. He works hard. He supports his family. He lives comfortably, but not richly. He's at the tavern tonight. He's listening. He's watching. He's hearing the prices. And he's thinking. I have some savings. Not much, but some. Enough to buy a contract. A small one. Nothing extravagant. Just one bulb. A decent variety. If he buys now, and prices keep rising the way they've been rising, he could sell in a month or two for a profit. Maybe a small profit. Maybe 30%. Maybe 50%. That's months of weaving earned in weeks by doing nothing except holding a piece of paper. But there's risk. He knows there's risk. What if prices stop rising? What if he can't find a buyer? What if he's left holding a contract for a flower bulb that no one wants? He looks around the room. Everyone seems confident. Everyone seems to know what they're doing. The prices are rising. The market feels strong. And he thinks, maybe this is real. Maybe this is safe. Maybe I'm overthinking it. So he decides. He approaches someone. He makes a deal. He signs a contract. And now he's part of it. He owns a promise. He owns a future. And he feels Not quite excitement, but something close. A quiet thrill, a sense of participation, a feeling that he's not being left behind. That feeling, multiplied by a city, by a society. That's how bubbles grow. Not through force, not through fraud, but through collective optimism, through shared confidence, through the feeling that everyone else is doing it, so it must be okay. Now rest again. Let your breathing slow. Let the tavern fade. Let Jan fade. We're approaching the peak, the moment when confidence becomes unshakable, when doubt becomes impossible. But first, rest. As we climb to the very peak, dash, dash, dash. It's February 1637. Prices at their highest. A single bulb of Semper Augustus, the most famous tulip, the one with red flames on pure white petals like frozen fire, is rumored to have sold for 6,000 guilders. Let that settle for a moment. 6,000 guilders. That's enough to buy a grand house on the canals in Amsterdam, a house with multiple floors, with windows overlooking the water, with room for a family and servants and business, a house for a flower bulb. Other varieties are selling for hundreds, thousands. Fortunes are being made in weeks. Ordinary people are becoming wealthy. Weavers, carpenters, shopkeepers. The market feels infinite. The confidence feels unbreakable. At the taverns now, the mood is electric, not loud, still polite, still controlled. But there's an energy, an excitement barely contained. People trade contracts the way they trade greetings, casually, frequently, without hesitation. Ledgers fill with entries. Prices are spoken like facts. The numbers rise and rise and rise, and no one, not one person in these rooms, believes it will end. They believe prices will stabilize eventually, maybe level off, maybe grow more slowly, but crash, collapse, become worthless. No, that's not even considered, because it's never happened before, because the market has only gone up, because everyone is participating and everyone can't be wrong. This is the peak. This is the moment when confidence becomes faith, when doubt becomes heresy, when questioning the market feels like questioning reality itself. And then silence, not a dramatic silence, not thunder, not headlines, just a pause. Picture a room, a tavern, a warm evening. Contracts are being discussed. A seller offers a bulb, a solid variety, a fair price. Or what would have been a fair price yesterday. The buyer hesitates, just for a moment, just a breath. The seller waits. He's expecting the usual response, a nod, a counter offer, a signature. But the response doesn't come. The buyer looks at the table. He reaches for his cup. He says, "I'll think about it. I'll think about it." Those 4 words, in that moment, are the crack in the dam. Because suddenly, Other people in the room hear those words and they think, wait, he's hesitating. Why is he hesitating? And doubt, quiet doubt, private doubt, begins to spread. Not loudly, not obviously, but like cold air seeping under a door. What if I can't find a buyer? What if prices stop rising? What if I am holding a contract that no one wants? The seller adjusts his price, just slightly, just to close the deal. The buyer still hesitates, and in that moment, both of them realize the same thing. The price is not rising anymore. The price might be falling. And if the price is falling, then waiting means losing. And if waiting means losing, then selling now is urgent. But if everyone is trying to sell, who's buying? Now picture this scene, not in one room, but in dozens, hundreds, across the city, across the region. Sellers trying to sell, buyers vanishing, prices dropping, not slowly, not gradually, but quickly, terrifyingly quickly. A bulb offered for 300 guilders finds no buyers. The price drops to 250. Still nothing. 200. 150, 100, and still no buyers, because confidence is not a substance. It's not a thing you can hold. It's a mood, a shared feeling, an atmosphere. And when the mood shifts, when one person pulls back, then another, the atmosphere collapses, and what was once valuable becomes just paper, just promises, just contracts for flower bulbs that no one wants anymore. This is March the 16th, 37. The market has collapsed, the bubble has popped, and people sit in rooms, holding contracts, and realize they're holding nothing. Rest now. Let your body soften. Let the collapse fade. We're moving toward the end, toward the aftermath, toward the lesson that survives 400 years. But first, just rest as the silence returns. Picture the same tavern. A few weeks later, it's quiet now, not warm and energetic, not full of conversation about prices and contracts, just quiet. A few men sit at separate tables. No one is talking to each other. Each man sits alone with his drink. Someone stares at the fire. Someone traces a finger along the rim of his cup. Someone looks out the window at the dark canal water. No one mentions tulips. The subject has become embarrassing. Everyone knows what happened. Everyone participated or knows someone who did. But no one wants to talk about it. Because what is there to say? How do we explain that we convinced ourselves a flower was worth a house? How do we explain that we believed the prices would rise forever? How do we explain that we saw warning signs and ignored them? There's no explanation that doesn't sound foolish in hindsight. So silence, just silence. Now picture Jan again, our weaver, the man who bought his first contract with savings. He's sitting at home. It's evening. A candle burns on the table. His family is asleep. In front of him, a piece of paper, the contract, the promise. He paid 80 guilders for it. He thought he could sell it for 120, maybe 150. But now, no one will buy it. Not at 80, not at 60, not at 40. Someone finally offered him 20 guilders. Just 20. A quarter of what he paid. He took it because 20 was better than 0. Because he needed to cut his losses. Because holding on felt like watching money burn. He lost 60 guilders, more than a month's wages. Maybe 2 months. It won't ruin him. He still has his work. He still has his family. He still has his home. But he feels something he hasn't felt in years. Financial fear. The fear of having made a terrible mistake. The fear of being foolish. And he's not alone. Multiply this feeling by hundreds, by thousands. People lost money. Some lost savings. Some lost more than savings. Some had borrowed to participate, and now owe debts they can't pay. But here's the strange thing. The thing that makes Tulip Mania different from other crashes. The economy doesn't collapse. The Dutch Republic continues. Ships still sail. Trade continues. Work continues. Because most tulip contracts were never legally enforceable. They were private agreements, handshake deals, gentlemen's agreements. When the market collapsed, when sellers tried to enforce contracts, the government stepped in. They declared that tulip contracts could be voided or settled for a tiny fraction of the agreed price, something like 3.5%. Essentially, the contracts were cancelled. This angered some people. The growers, the serious collectors, the people who had been dealing in tulips as a legitimate business. But it protected ordinary people from total ruin. It prevented cascading failures. It contained the damage. So Tulip Mania ended not with a catastrophe, but with a shrug. A collective decision to pretend it didn't happen, to walk away, to move on. And life simply continued. The tulips themselves, the actual flowers, they didn't vanish. They're still in the ground, still waiting for spring. And when spring comes, they bloom, just as they always have, just as they always will. Beautiful, brief, indifferent to human drama. The growers keep growing. The collectors keep collecting. Tulips remain popular, remain desirable, remain part of Dutch culture. But the speculative market is gone. The futures contracts end. The tavern trading stops. Tulips return to being flowers. And the city returns to being a city, built on water, built on trust, built on the belief that paper can represent value, as long as that value is real. Now let everything soften. Let the story begin to dissolve. We're moving into the final section, the long drift, the place where you can let go completely. But before we do, let the history soften into wisdom. It would be easy to say Tulip Mania was about foolishness, about greed, about collective insanity. But that's not quite right. The people involved were not fools. They were not uneducated. They were experienced merchants, skilled growers, intelligent collectors. They were operating inside a bubble. And from inside a bubble, the bubble doesn't look like a bubble. It looks like opportunity. It looks like the future. It looks like everyone else is getting rich and you're being left behind. And that feeling, that fear of missing out, is powerful. It overrides caution. It makes risk feel like safety. Because the riskiest thing in that moment feels like doing nothing. Tulip Mania is important, not because tulips are important, but because the pattern is important. The same pattern has repeated dozens of times since 1637. The South Sea Bubble, Railway Mania, the dot-com boom, the housing crisis, cryptocurrencies. The objects change, the technology changes, but the pattern remains the same. Something new appears, something rare or novel or tied to new technology. Early adopters pay attention, prices rise, more people notice, prices rise faster, confidence builds. The mood becomes, this time is different. And then, hesitation, doubt, silence, selling, panic, collapse. We keep doing this, not because we're stupid, but because we're human. We're optimistic, we're social. We take cues from others. We believe we can see what others miss. We believe we're smart enough to sell before the crash. And sometimes we're right. Some people do sell at the peak. Some people do make fortunes. But most don't. Most hold too long, or buy too late, or convince themselves the pattern will continue forever. So what's the lesson? Maybe it's this. Value is complicated. Some value is intrinsic, tied to use, to function, to what a thing actually does. Some value is social, tied to what others believe, to shared agreement, to collective mood. Both kinds of value are real, but only intrinsic value is stable. Social value can evaporate. It can vanish overnight. It can disappear the moment the shared belief breaks. A tulip has intrinsic value. It's beautiful. It blooms. It brings joy to people who see it. But during the mania, the price separated completely from that intrinsic value. The price became about speculation, about the next buyer, about social agreement. And when the agreement broke, the price collapsed back to something close to intrinsic value, not zero. Tulips still had value, but reasonable value, sane value. So when we're evaluating something, whether it's a flower or a stock or a piece of art, it helps to ask, what is the intrinsic value here? What would this be worth if no one else wanted it? If the answer is nothing or very little, then we're dealing with something whose value is mostly social, mostly speculative. That doesn't mean we shouldn't buy it, but it means we should be careful. It means we should know what we're doing. It means we should be prepared for the value to change suddenly, without warning. And maybe, just maybe, we should remember that a flower is still just a flower, beautiful, brief, worth admiring, but not worth a house. Now, let the lesson fade. Let the market fade. Let the contracts and prices and panic all fade into history where they belong. Keep only this, a tulip, a single tulip, blooming in spring, red flames on white petals, perfect, delicate, indifferent to price, and let even that image soften and blur and eventually disappear as we drift home. Now we return to the canal. One last time. It's night again, always night, the time when Amsterdam is most itself. Dark water, still water, lantern lights stretching across the surface in thin golden lines. A window glows somewhere. Inside, a table. On the table, a closed ledger. The ink long dry. The contracts long voided. But the city remains. The canals remain. The patient rhythm of water and stone and wood. Tomorrow, ships will sail. Goods will be traded. Work will continue. Because life always continues. Markets rise and fall. Fortunes are made and lost. But the world keeps turning. And somewhere, in a field outside the city, tulip bulbs sleep in the earth. They know nothing of prices, nothing of panic, nothing of the strange brief moment when humans convinced themselves that a flower was worth a fortune. They simply wait, tied to the ancient rhythm of seasons, dormant in winter, rising in spring, blooming, fading, sleeping again, indifferent, patient, eternal. Now let your mind become like that bulb, dormant, resting, waiting for nothing. Let the story dissolve completely. Let the images fade. Let the words become distant, like wind, like water, like something you once heard but can no longer quite remember. Let your shoulders sink deeper. Let your jaw go slack. Let your hands grow so heavy they might as well be part of the bed. Your breath is slow now. In and out. In and out. Each exhale slightly longer than the inhale. Each breath taking you somewhere deeper, somewhere quieter. And if thoughts arise, let them. Don't fight them. Just watch them pass like boats on the canal. Here and then gone. Here and then gone. You don't need to hold on to anything. Not the story, not the lesson, not even these words. Everything can drift away now. Everything can become soft and dark and still. Picture the canal one last time. Black water, a single lantern, its reflection stretching long and golden. And then, even that fades, until there's only darkness, only warmth, only the gentle rhythm of your own breathing, in and out, in and out. Nothing to do, nothing to think, nothing to remember. Just this, just now, just rest. The tulip sleeps in the earth. The city sleeps beside the water. And you can sleep too, deep and dreamless, safe and still. I'll be here tomorrow night with another story, another history, another gentle journey into sleep. But for now, just let go. Let everything go.